Time for the ride home in ENC.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
This is your 5 o'clock drive with Patrick Johnson.
Holy mackerel!
More news, more interviews, more ECU stories than you can shake a stick at. Hey, stop shaking that stick. This is the Patrick Johnson Show.
Pirates win! Pirates win!
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, hello again, everybody, and welcome to the P-Man Show on this Friday.
Going live!
No, not Friday. It's my Friday. It's Thursday. Pilk will be here tomorrow. I'm going to be out with some. I'm going for my annual checkup, Pilk. That's tomorrow. You know who we're checking out today? The great Mike Mullis. He's going to be with us. Lots to talk about with him. We've got a College World Series that is set with Coastal and LSU. They left the mountains of Asheville yesterday without anything really decided as far as the college football playoff goes. The word out of the meeting was that all options are on the table. And that means that nothing's been changed as of now. We'll see what happens. Conference commissioners left that meeting in Asheville. Possibilities for change are still on the table. Rich Clark is the executive of the college football playoff, and he says there is not a leading contender, but everyone is taking a fresh look at the options. It almost appears that it will be extended or expanded to 16 games. That seems to be the consensus, or 16 teams, excuse me. That seems to be the consensus. Be great if it were 16 games. That'd be, or 17 games. However it would be where you'd have 32 in, but they'll never do that.
That'd be 31 games.
31 games. The bowl season stuff, to me, you know, I get it, but just, you know, like the Rose Bowl finally adjusting their time. I mean, is it this year or in the future? That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's coming up from 5 Eastern to 4 Eastern. So 2 their time to 1 their time. This coming up.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Should happen. I do think eventually we get out of the world of bowls.
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're going to wind up with a pretty robust tournament, and the bowls will be what the NIT would be.
Yeah, I think there's going to have to be some kind of second deal, whether it's a second tournament like an NIT or bowls, right? Because the MAC teams need somewhere to go.
Good teams who've had a good season need to have something to aim for.
I mean, you got to think, you got the NIT and other sports. Like, you think about it, there's an NIT, and it's not called the NIT, but remember a couple of years ago, we hosted the volleyball version of the NIT. Like, they have them in other sports, even though we just think about it in college basketball. Yeah.
The college volleyball invitational or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I've called games in it. I don't even remember what the name of it is off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So anyway, that is what's going on there. We'll see. This, again, is not for when we say 26. This is for the 26 postseason. This upcoming will be the 25 postseason. So everything will be the same this year. Although they are not doing the top 4 get a bye, or the conference champion top 4 thing get a bye. Am I correct in that this year, Bill?
Yeah, I think it's just going to be, top 12. So the top 5 conference champions will get in, but 1 through 4 won't necessarily be conference champions. So if you're 16 and you're you would bump the 12 out, but that'd be it.
Right. Yeah.
5 at-large bids.
All right. So some news for you. Do you have the guy's cut from yesterday? Tell me you pulled his cut from yesterday about the breaking news. Do you have that at least?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Let me hear it.
We have some breaking updated news. East Carolina has replied, and for now they're going to take a wait-and-see approach, basically meaning they're going to wait and see what Memphis does.
Oh, no. I meant where the guy said everyone a little breaking news for you.
Depending on what Memphis does.
I thought, no, I don't have that.
That's what I thought.
Everyone, a little breaking news for you.
I thought you were going to pull that for me, Pilk, where the guy said breaking news.
I can play the very beginning of this because he says it. He says it right here.
We have some breaking updated news.
Oh, no, it's not breaking news. He's got breaking updated news. Now, again, I'm not denying that. Well, let's tell the whole story here. So I still am trying to figure out where the actual origin of this is from, because I was hearing about it Tuesday night. And apparently this guy, what is his name? Schulze?
Yeah, David Schultz, and he goes by like Schultzy on Twitter.
Okay. David Schultz, Dr. D. David Schultz, has said that the Sun Belt, the Fun Belt, has reached out to East Carolina. It may have. It may have. Well, as was reported this morning by our very own Henry Hinton on Talk of the Town, he was at a high-paid, high-flying dinner last night with some bigwigs, and the chancellor was there, Dr. Rogers, and basically kind of scoffed at it. I mean, Pilk, you were listening this morning. It seemed to me that Dr. Rogers threw cold water on, even throw cold water on the idea. He just was like, that ain't happening. Am I wrong in my interpretation of that,
Oh,
Pilk?
no, not at all. You hit the nail on the head.
Right. So that's what ECU's chancellor said. Not happening. When did this bozo, I guess, last night? I shouldn't call him a bozo. We don't know the man. He's just a guy trying to get his podcast going. But this person, I think still in the same Omaha hat. I wonder if he sleeps in it. Is there a chance he sleeps in the Omaha hat?
I would say it's a slim chance, but it's there.
Okay. Maybe hanging on the bed. Remember when you were a kid and you had the bed and you would hang your hat?
Yeah.
He probably hangs the hat on the, part of the
bedpost.
The headboard. Yeah, the headpost, the headboard. Anyway, here is what Schultze posted late yesterday. I guess this was either during the Coastal Carolina game or shortly thereafter.
We have some breaking updated news. East Carolina has replied, and for now they're going to take a wait-and-see approach, basically meaning they're going to wait and see what Memphis does, as perhaps the AAC could fall apart, depending on what Memphis does.
Then he started talking about Louisiana Tech after that. I didn't have the rest.
Right. Louisiana Tech is going to want to join the Fun Belt. And look, if you're La Tech, you get coverage from Schultze there. Yeah. Play that again, because I want to, and be prepared to stop it or pause it so I can break stuff down. Here we go.
We have some breaking updated news. East Carolina has replied, and for now they're going to take a wait-and-see approach.
Stop it. Where I could hear John Gilbert calling something a wait-and-see approach, because that sounds like Gilbert verbiage. They're not taking, if they're taking a wait-and-see approach, that's the approach everybody kind of has to take.
Yeah, but it's not wait and see. It's like, It's no for now, and if crap, goes totally haywire 5 years from now, we're going to reconsider. But wait and see would mean you would still change under the current contract. Under the current contract, East Carolina ain't going anywhere but up.
All right, hit it.
Basically meaning they're going to wait and see what Memphis does, as perhaps
Stop it. So Thamel said the reason that Memphis did not join the Pac-12, which, remember how we were talking, everybody was talking about how great the Pac-12 was going to be?
Oh, yeah.
How, boy, this was going to be, it was going back to the P5. The Pac-12, you know what? So Thamel reported the exit to leave the American right now. Do you know what the exit fee is, Pilk?
$25 million.
$25 million. Do you know how much the mighty Pac-12 offered Memphis to help them with that? According to the Thamel article?
I'm going to go $2 million.
2.5.
Okay. So
I could see the Pac-12 commissioner, she's been stealing money now for over a year. I could see her under the cushions and the couch cushions, maybe, trying to rake out some coins to throw to that $2.5 million. Memphis is not going anywhere. Am I boring you, Pilk?
No. I had to get up earlier than I normally do.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
And so, all right, finish the statement here because we're waiting to see what Memphis does.
As perhaps the AAC could fall apart, depending on what Memphis does.
Because they're the linchpin. Let me tell you something. If that operation out there in Western Tennessee leaves, I don't know how we'll continue. I don't know how we would keep moving on if the Memphis Tigers left. Whatever would happen if Memphis left?
How do I say this without getting us fined or me fired? Because he says, East Carolina's in a wait-and-see approach with the Sun Belt because Memphis could leave. Does this even make sense?
So, how many views does this moron? I don't know the man. I shouldn't. How many views does this gentleman have on this ridiculous post?
61,000.
He's got views. I don't. That's not my game. I'm not a social media is currency guy. I'm not the hashtag clout, hashtag content for clout.
But it just.
And here's the problem with this. So that's been viewed, 61? What did you say, 61,000?
Yeah.
There are 61,000 morons out there because they believe this guy actually knows what he's talking about.
I wouldn't say everybody that viewed it's a moron.
Oh, no. They're pretty well morons because they're probably the same people now that are up to like 3 dozen. Hey, we're going to the Sun Belt. What you heard about it?
Well, Patrick, you and I viewed it, and we know that we're not going to the Sun Belt. We're 2 of those.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. The remaining numbers in that. But, I mean, and so here's what I thought we would do today. Let's reach out to the guy and have him come on the show. He doesn't have to give us his sources if they're protected sources, which I'd never have heard him say sources.
No,
he's just proclaiming all this as if it's fact. But I have not. I thought, well, let's have a guy on who's obviously can promote. He's going to be on this radio show, and we'll ask him to explain himself. Where's he getting this information? Because we have pretty damn good. I would say if the owner of our company, who I work with every day on the air for 2 hours, and that you interact with on a daily basis pretty much, is telling us, the head of our organization is telling us that the head of East Carolina, the chancellor, who also holds that key position of sort of the chair of the president and chancellor's committee in the American Athletic Conference, is saying no chance to our boss who tells us on the public airwaves where you can't lead people on.
Yeah. So it wasn't like a private conversation over breakfast between the 3 of us.
Right. It ain't happening. Said on the public airwaves. And there you have this absolute imbecile. I'm sorry, I don't know him. I shouldn't say he's an imbecile. You have this guy in his hat he looks like he bought at a pack-a-sack.
It looks like one of those like custom hats that you buy at the beach that like the 12-year-old girls buy, and they can have anything they want embroidered on it.
Should say YOLO. It shouldn't say Omaha. It should say YOLO on it. That's what it should say.
Oh, my goodness. If it was 10 years ago, that's what this guy wore 10 years ago.
That's what this guy wore YOLO. Dayglow YOLO is what
and he was 55 at the time wearing YOLO. He's probably 65 now.
He's 65 now wearing a YOLO Omaha hat. And this jackass, well, I shouldn't say that. I don't know the guy. I don't know him.
Every time you insult her, like, I shouldn't go, but by the way, he's a moron.
I shouldn't call him a jackass. I don't know if he's a jackass. So anyway, Pilk reached out to this absolute slappy.
Well, I don't know if he's
a slap nut. I shouldn't say if he's a slap nut or not. I don't know if he is.
So I tried to DM. So I would go to his account and see if it'll let me DM. No. So I go to the area where you.
So wait a minute, you couldn't slide into his DMs, Mr. Breaking News, who probably gets his information.
Yeah. So I go
through
to the DM spot and
how do I
DMs
turn
are a
my
little
DMs
weird
off?
on Twitter.
I would love to turn my DMs off.
And DMs are a little weird on Twitter. Like, I know it's kind of weird if the person doesn't follow you, but it still goes through. They just don't always see it. So, I tried multiple different ways. I tried to do his handle. I tried to type in his name. I followed him and then tried to do it to see if that. I still
Pilk.
couldn't. Well, I was trying to get the content for the show.
The good of the show. # content.
And I couldn't. So what I found is the company that he is in his bio, the podcast or whatever. So they have a website and they have a contact us place. So I reached out to them that way via email, and I haven't heard anything back. And I did it at 9:15 this morning.
Right. And here we are some 8 hours later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here we are 10 hours later, let's say. And we've not heard anything from this goof. I shouldn't say he's a goof. I don't know him if he's a goof or not. He just is ill-informed.
I mean, we can't say he's ill-informed because they may have reached out, right? We don't know that.
No. But today's statement pretty much makes him ill-informed. Yeah. Let's play it one more time for the people that are for those in the back row. If you hear this and you think to yourself, well, boy, this guy's really onto something. Okay, you probably don't need to be listening to this show. Maybe you need to be listening to Giggle, Fart, and Duck Snort across the way, because that's about on the level you would be if you're believing this guy. Here we go.
We have some breaking updated news. East Carolina has replied, and for now they're going to take a wait-and-see approach. Basically meaning they're going to wait and see what Memphis does, as perhaps the AAC could fall apart, depending on what Memphis does.
Whatever will we do?
Whole conference going to the toilet.
Just going to say it's a house of cards.
And
Schulte, you got an open invite. We got a couple weeks till our vacation. I'm throwing down the gauntlet now. Come on the show.
Yeah, Pilk, if anybody knows this guy and can get a hold of him, send him our way.
If you can get him to get off of his job of picking orders in the warehouse long enough to get on the phone, we'll do an interview with him. Be happy to do it. Pilk, do not. If this bozo, since I'm going to be out tomorrow, if this bozo, I don't know if he's a bozo. I shouldn't call him a bozo. I don't know if he's a bozo. I shouldn't say that. If this gentleman, I don't even know if he's a gentleman.
This human being.
If this person, this human being, wants to come on tomorrow and you don't hammer him in my stead, I will be so disappointed in you.
You will have Henry fire me if I don't hammer this guy. That's reasonable. I'll hammer him.
All right. But if he doesn't come on tomorrow, he has an open invite for the next 2 weeks to come on.
Yeah. We're going through July 3rd, right?
We're going to be here through the 3rd at least. Maybe the 2nd with some information I received today. But the 3rd is what the plan is.
I ain't showing up on the 4th. That's all I know.
No. We're not.
I'm not showing up on Friday the 4th. It will be Thursday. Yeah.
Right. This isn't Curtis Media. We're not making people work on July 4th holiday. Come on. All right. It is, boy. I'll get the inbox on that one, I'm sure. It is the Patrick Johnson Show. It is 94-3 the game, and we are going to switch our attention. We'll ask Mike Mullis his thoughts on this when we come back. Old Mully will join us. Good to talk to him. Looking forward to it. Stay with us. PJ Show rolls on.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
It's back.
Inner Banks Media presents the #1 outdoor concert series in Greenville.
Concert on the Common.
The next band to hit the stage at the Greenville Toyota Amphitheater is On the Border, the ultimate Eagles tribute.
Get more details on this year's concert series at concertonthecommon.org. See you June 26th for On the Border. Remember, get the podcast of the show on the IBX Media app or where you get your podcasts.
I listen on my Apple Watch.
Smart speaker.
Listen while you work.
I listen everywhere. The Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
College World Series is set. Coastal Carolina, Louisiana State. We'll talk about that and all things Pirate baseball to this point and a lot more. I'm excited to welcome back to the Patrick Johnson Show, the one and only Mike Mullis, ESPN, college baseball analyst, ACC Network Extra, ECU Sports Network. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing really well. You know, we've talked about this the last few days. I'm sure you've got this question because you're the man about town, and that is ECU going to the Sun Belt? So I want to talk to you a little bit about that from the baseball perspective, because we've already, explained yesterday and explained again today as best we could, and for the various reasons why. But we love the baseball fans. We love the Pirate baseball fans. But that is a big boy baseball league, much more so than the American.
Yeah, you make a good point out of the gate. To me, the Sun Belt is it's the most interesting conference in the country from the standpoint of the totality of the circumstances, from a budgetary standpoint, from what they do with their money. They are really, really good at being who they are. Hence, the money would be the reason that East Carolina would be held right now. I'm sure you guys have discussed ad nauseum, the television contracts and the things that are the difference between the current American and the Sun Belt. The fear is, what does the American look like downstream? I don't know. I don't know that anybody does. Obviously, Memphis has made it clear that they would love to find a new home. But as it relates to baseball, you had 2 nationally ranked teams there, actually 3, for a lot of the season. They kind of beat up on each other, and it is a very undervalued conference from the novice consumer of the game, who obviously defaults to SEC, ACC, and then obviously people that are partial to East Carolina, default kind of to the American. But currently, as the teams stand now, there's quite frankly, PJ, there's no comparison between the quality of the two conferences. I think it'd be great to play as heavy of a Sun Belt schedule as possible. We saw some of that last year with Coastal coming in here and playing 3, but man, it would be a great conference. It would be a great conference for football. It would be a great, largely geographically acceptable conference.
Oh, Mike, come on. I don't think it would be a great baseball, yes, I'll give you that. Basketball would be way less, and I don't think the football's that great across the board. I think the American's deeper in football.
You know what? And I guess every man's entitled to their opinion. I would disagree with you from the standpoint. Yeah, no, I would disagree from the standpoint of from a competitive balance for East Carolina having an opportunity to get into the football postseason. To play through that is going to be one that makes a little bit more sense. From a basketball standpoint, until East Carolina decides they want to commit to basketball, it's always going to be what it is, regardless of the conference that it's in. So I think we've historically, at least in my time in East North Carolina and following East Carolina athletics the way I do, we've always found our way to meet the tide in basketball, whether it's a rising tide or a lowering tide. We've kind of found our way to kind of settle in the middle somewhere, regardless. So it takes a commitment, man. When you're looking at the Memphises, and that's obviously they're the difference maker in the room for the American. It'll never be a level playing field from a basketball standpoint. Certainly, football is going to be difficult, and baseball for them is who cares.
Yeah, and the one thing I think being in the American has forced East Carolina to do from a basketball standpoint is put more dollars towards it in order to be competitive, in all levels, operationally, salaries, rev share, and obviously NIL. I will say this, you could agree, maybe not, but any of those teams right now, if the shoe were on the other foot and the American called somebody in the Sun Belt to gauge their interest, they'd have left yesterday.
See, I don't know, PJ. I don't know that the revenue is that much greater to entice somebody to come out of the Sun Belt with the volatility of what the American ultimately ends up being. And again, we don't know that. What does this thing look like in negotiation for the next TV deal? And certainly what's it look like if if Memphis leaves? Quite frankly, at that point, it's clearly, in my opinion, a lesser conference. The American is a lesser conference than the Sun Belt would be. So, I think they're very nearly cousins if you look at the types of teams, the TV markets. Obviously, there is more money in the American, hence the TV deals are greater. But I don't know, with the new rev share and everybody trying to spend that 20% allotted amount, I don't know. I just feel like that dollar goes further in the Sun Belt.
Mike Mullis joins us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. It must go far at Coastal. They're giving away free concessions and playing for the College World Series title. Best of 3 starts Saturday night with LSU. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned that concessions thing. I just had this conversation the other day. I want you to think about, they could not have bought the amount of publicity they've gotten for that. And PJ, at the end of the day, what are they giving away? Hot dogs, popcorn, fountain drinks. They're not giving away beer, filet, lobster. So the stuff they're quote unquote giving away is the ultimate loss leader. It's the old 99-cent loaf of bread to get you into the store to spend $100 on groceries. So, I think it's brilliant. My time there during the regional, and I've talked about it a lot, their athletic administration is very progressive, very forward-thinking, very energetic, and quite frankly, their athletic administration is thought of very highly by the people of the area. There's a lot of support that runs both ways. So, look, man, I think the concession thing, what a great idea. Hey, let's give away, I mean, what do you end up giving away? 10, 12,000 hot dogs a game? What's the investment in that? It's marginal at best. But man, they have gotten more publicity off of that move. I mean, it's a page out of Mr. Beast's book, right? Like he goes in, tips a waitress for a bunch of money for a cup of water, and the tip could not have bought the publicity in the open marketplace.
Mike Mullis, I'm taking a sip of beverage here myself. Mike Mullis with us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Hey, Mully, let's talk Coastal though in the championship. You actually have said since you and I saw them, what was it in March, February,
Yeah.
March, that's a team that could go to Omaha and win games, and then as the year went on, you said maybe could win the whole thing.
And that opinion was based off of their pitching staff. What they have done offensively in the postseason, I actually tried to pull the numbers up and really couldn't find anything that answered the question I had in the brief time that I had to look for. But what they've done offensively in the postseason has been remarkable. They got a little bit healthy at the right time when you bring Dean Mijos back into the lineup. He was the center fielder that we saw here when they played at East Carolina, had gone out with a hamate injury, and now is back in the lineup as a DH. And the thing is, he's not your typical DH. He is a burner. He is a guy that is an absolute spark plug for that club. So they got healthy at the right time. They got production out of unlikely places, specifically Colby Thorndike and the tear he's been on. I mean, the dude does nothing but, double with guys in scoring position. And, he bust open the other day to give him a 6 spot. But my opinion of that team was based off really one thing out of the gate. When you could take a kid like Eichhoff, that was your Friday, Saturday guy the year before due to injury on a team that had a really good season, that guy's a quality starter, and you're able to supplant him to the 3 spot, and you go better than him ahead of him, man, that's pretty freaking good. And a close friend of mine was part of the recruiting of that team, and he's like, look, man, we got guys in the bullpen with 12, 14, 15 innings that we just haven't had a chance to use because our frontline guys have been number 1 healthy and number 2 really, really good all year. So again, man, that they've got 2 closers. They've got a lefty and a righty. I think Cabrera, the lefty, is about as good as anybody in college baseball. It might not be the 98, 99, 100 that we see out of some of these guys, but man, it is competitive. It's left-handed. It's never straight. And it is firm. But I mean, just the makeup of the club and, how Coach Small and staff go about managing the culture. And again, we've talked about this numerous times, PJ, where at the beginning of the onset of the whole NIL and the transfer portal stuff, where a lot of people kind of stuck their lip out and said, hey, we don't like this. Coastal was very aggressive in embracing it and looking at it as an opportunity, kind of a shot in the arm, like let's get better through free agency right now.
You think our friends, the selfie ladies, are there in Omaha?
Yeah, there's a chance. There's a chance. I hear a lot about them too. It's kind of one of those things that I think will forever be linked to. Matter of fact, even when I was down there for the regionals, I had several people ask me if I had attempted to catch up with them, and I was like, well, no, 21 years of marriage, I'd like to see 22, and I don't think me caught in a selfie with them would be the recipe for success with my bride. So probably leave that alone. Although at this point, they would probably recognize me as the very harmless middle-aged gentleman.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, Jay Johnson and LSU back in this thing. Can they how they won last night, can that sort of buoy them into Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you win, you win, and that's obviously the name of the game. Is it like a Kickstarter? I don't know. They kind of backed into it a little bit. If you could look at it that way. I feel terrible for the left fielder from Arkansas, who's had a great year. The biggest question to me And the whole thing is, why in the world do you pitch to the kid from LSU with first base open? He's one of the best hitters in the country. The play at shortstop, I've been asked about that a couple times.
Yeah.
I don't. The only argument you can make if you disagree with the shortstop's play is if you're saying it is an absolute double play. And I tell you what, if they were able to turn a double play there, it would have been a dandy. I mean, I didn't see it as a sure thing. That ball, took him into the hole, and he got the lead out. If the things don't happen subsequently, nobody's talking about it. But I don't know that you can absolutely say for sure that would have been a double play to end the game. I get wanting to make the effort. I also get the maddening nature of not collecting an out at all there when you're sitting over there in the dugout. So, hey, he went with where the ball took him. He made the play at third base. He got the lead guy. Would have been nice if they turned two, sure, but at the same time, it's everything after that is what made that look so questionable.
Who wins and in how many games?
I mean, I think we're looking at 3 games. Obviously, I, like most everybody else, I think around here, we're all Chanticleers, at least until we see them in football here in the not too distant future. But I think everybody's kind of tired of the evil empire that is the SEC. And does anybody embody the SEC more than LSU historically in baseball? I know right now, they've got a lot of good teams with Tennessee and Vandy and others. But, I mean, growing up, man, I remember watching Ben McDonald, who's now doing analyst work, watching him pitch in the World Series, and Warren, drawing a blank on his name, and with the big hit, he'd come off the bench, he'd been hurt. So, anyway, LSU, they are the evil empire at this point, and Coastal was that bright and shining star. And I'm going to tell you, man, I think Kevin Stahl and his guys, man, they kind of have a little Robin Hood feel about them. And Kevin Stahl has made a name for himself. I love his post games. It was great to me the other day when he broke down, this is how we're not chants, we are chants, Chanticleer. Say it with me. I thought it was great. And I think that again, that mile or that marketing dollar will get miles.
Mike Mullis joining us here on the Patrick Johnson Show. Since we last talked to you, and most recently, 3 players for ECU have announced they are coming back. They are pitchers Jackson DiLorenzo, Gabe Beschloss, who struggled near the end, and then Michael Kalinich, who certainly drew the attention of a lot of folks. If you're so that's 15 that are back. They also picked up another D2 kid. I want to ask you about all this, but for those guys that have announced most recently they're coming back, what do they need to do to be able to be better than they were this year?
To get better, be more consistent. I mean, you're as a high quality player, you become great by stringing together good. And, the great plays will take care of themselves, but you've got to be good and find that consistency. And that obviously was what the Pirates lacked so greatly last year, especially to that, postseason run. But it is again, it's finding that ability to be consistent. And, we saw some good things out of all 3 of those guys, but quite frankly, I don't think those are the guys that now you hang your hopes on for next year. They're all 3 kind of situational pieces. Obviously a righty and a lefty out of the pen, and a lot of mixed opinions and voices have been fairly vocal as it relates to especially DiLorenzo and kind of his up and down struggles and successes. But they just got to be consistent, PJ. They got to find a way to find their maximum level of output and bring it on a more consistent basis. It'll be interesting. If Kalinich, from a hitter standpoint, I think he does have an awful long ways to go. From a catching standpoint, he's looking at a guy in front of him that's pretty freaking good, and obviously did the lion's share of the work this year. So, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's all with Beschloss and Kalinich, they're young guys, right? And DiLorenzo's kind of getting past that point now, going into his junior season, but. It's you never know. These guys change a lot in this, the summers between their freshman and sophomore years. So be interested to see what they are when they come back.
Is there anybody that is coming back that you feel like we will see take a big jump next year?
I would hope for his sake and for the sake of the program, I'd love to see that be, Boucher. I'd love to see him settle in at a spot and kind of make a home. He'll be a senior, so he's been around. He understands what it's all about. There are some tools there. He too has got to be more consistent on the positive side. So, eliminate some of the strikeouts and obviously clean it up defensively wherever he settles. But, he's got some juice. He obviously has some arm strength. That's the guy that I would hope to see it. But I think when you look at the totality with, Peltier and, some of these, again, kind of role player guys from this year, you just hope they grow up and I don't mean that in a negative light at all, but they grow up and grow into being starting guys for a program like East Carolina and the history that it's had. So, the other one, the one that's kind of funny that very few people talk about, Sean Jenkins coming back's a big deal. And all of a sudden you've got Norby and Jenkins and, maybe either or both Antolik and Towers. I assume that they're both coming back, and that was supposed to be 2 weekend guys. So if all of a sudden you've got 4 guys with weekend experience in your rotation, man, that's something to build on.
Another D2 player has signed, Gavin Marley from Lenore-Rhine. Mm-hmm. What should we read into that this roster is presumably going to have 4 D2 guys? Is this diamonds in the rough, or is this sort of maybe give us a little bit of the insight into, from a free agency standpoint, as you put it, where they are right now?
I think the model's out there where you saw what, Carolina did in bringing in Bass, the kid from Wilson Hunt, the D3 guy from Wesleyan, and he had a great season for them. But I would be willing to bet you these guys were probably on East Carolina's radar out of high school, and they've, as they start looking at, okay, where do we go next? These guys pop back up, and you go out and look at the kid from Lenore-Rhine, his numbers, man. He's an innings eater. He takes the ball a lot. He must have a rubber arm. he pitched back-to-back days multiple times, kind of that closer role kind of guy, but he was 3-1 with I think it was like a 2.7, 2.5 ERA. So very, very respectable numbers. And again, a guy that can go out and throw every day. So, PJ, I kind of like, I would rather see a guy coming up from a quality D2 program than landing a bunch of guys out of the portal because they went to an SEC or ACC school, and how much credit are they given because of the name attached to them. It's kind of like when I was recruiting, if a kid was from Florida, he automatically got, an extra star because the perception was, he's from Florida and they play all the time there. So I think the same thing's happening now in the portal. No different than you've seen kids leaving East Carolina, Pruitt being the glaring example, and lands at Georgia. I don't think if he's leaving USC Upstate, he's going to Georgia.
Mike Mullis with us. Mully, good stuff. Appreciate it. We'll catch up with you soon.
Yeah, buddy. Always a good time, and I look forward to catching up down the road.
Thank you, Mike. Awesome to have Mike Mullis on the program with us here. Right now, Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game Sports Flash update and Pirate report.
Thank you, P-Man. There is some news on the Pirate baseball front. The Pirates have acquired a relief pitcher out of the portal. That is Gavin Marley out of Lenore-Rhine. He will be entering his senior season. His junior year was quite the breakout year. He had a 2.75 ERA with 10 saves in 39 1/3 innings of work, and he also struck out 59 batters during that time with a whip just over 1. NBA Finals Game 6 tonight from Indiana. The Thunder looking to close out the hometown Pacers. The Thunder are currently favored by 5.5 points. This line could fluctuate and probably probably will when we know the status of Tyrese Halliburton, who is a game-time decision with that calf injury. U.S. men's national team will play their second game of the Gold Cup tonight at 9:15 against Saudi Arabia. They look to build off their 5-0 defeat of Trinidad and Tobago last time out. Live at the PGA Tour right now is the Travelers Championship. Austin Eckroat and Scotty Scheffler up in this one at 8 under par. They are followed by a handful of players at 6 under, which include Keegan Bradley, Roy McIlroy, and Wyndham Clark. Handful of MLB games happened earlier today and have already gone final. It was Kansas City over Texas 4-1, Brew Crew over the Cubs 8-7. It was the Cardinals 5-4 winners over the Chi Sox. Tigers, best record in baseball, 9-2 victors over the Pirates. Yankees finally won a game, defeated the Angels 7-3. Speaking of teams that finally won a game, the Nationals snapped an 11-game losing skid in 11 innings, defeating the Rockies, who were 500 on the month coming into that one. That was 4-3, and the Twins 12-5 victors over the Reds. Pair of games going on right now. Top 9, D-backs up 9-5 on the Blue Jays, and in the bottom of the 6th, Cleveland is up 1-0 on the Giants. That'll do it for your 94 Through the Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to take our final timeout here on the Patrick Johnson Show and be back to wrap it up right after this.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first. And that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
exciting conclusion.
Why is everyone screaming?
On 94.3 The Game.
All right, we are getting ready to wrap up the show for this Thursday. You know, we haven't talked much about what's going on in the WNBA. That was all the talk of the Nationals yesterday, Caitlin Clark, and what was happening there as far as the technicals that were doled out the other night. We said this last year, so we were beating this drum. Two things, Pilk. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. You doubted whether she could move the needle.
No.
Last year.
I did not.
Yes, you did. You said she wouldn't move the needle.
I said that she would not make the WNBA self-sustaining. I said that it will still always be a tax write-off for the NBA. I said she will move the needle. She'll be the most popular player of all
You never
time.
said she'd move the You said she couldn't move the needle. That's what you go back and look at the tape.
I will go back and look at the tape because I said that she will not save the WNBA from being
That
a
was
tax
your exact word.
write-off.
She would not save the WNBA. She has saved the WNBA.
No, it's still a tax write-off for the NBA. It's still a tax write. They're without the NBA, it would fold.
Was Rome built in a day? Was Rome built in a day?
No.
Okay. Let me give you Caitlin Clark, the Caitlin influence, Pilk.
Yeah.
So she was out with that quad injury, right?
Yeah. Ticket prices plummeted.
Went from like $85 to $3.
I think it was 12.
No, it went to $3. You could go see that game against the Sky for $3.
Can't go to Rose football game for $3. You can't. It's like $7.
I'm coughing up a lung. That was so funny. And so, you know, what we're seeing now is kind of like it was in the 80s and 90s in the NBA. They let them beat the hell out of each other.
But they're letting them beat the hell out of one player and none of the other players in the league.
It's a good point. And I've long contended this is just not the WNBA. This is all across. Officiating in women's basketball is heinous. It is some of the worst officiated stuff you will ever see. Because, I don't know why because. But, I mean, stuff that's a foul at this juncture in the game is not even on the next possession in some cases. It's one of the most inconsistently called things I've ever witnessed in my life. If you have good officials in a women's basketball game, that is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
A lot of the officiating is really, really poor at any level. High school girls, middle school girls, D3, NAIA, D2, D1, WNBA, whatever. Just poorly officiated. And they let him, like I said, they let him just slaughter one another. Just beat each other senseless. And you know what? This is what you get. The men's NBA games are nowhere near as physical as WNBA games involving Caitlin Clark.
No.
Beijing he'd flop all over the place. Maybe Caitlin Clark should do the Beijing flop. What do you think?
No, I want to continue respecting her.
Okay. But I mean, we have to admit she's come back. She's been outstanding. Yeah. They play tonight on the West Coast. That might do better. Well, that probably won't do better numbers than the NBA game. But it might.
No, it won't.
Could.
I think its competition is going to be like maybe the men's soccer game tonight would be the best thing to compare it to.
We have the U.S. team playing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might. That's a friendly, though, isn't it?
No, it's the Gold Cup.
It's the Gold Cup? Okay.
Yeah. But no, the NBA, it is Game 6.
It is. It's been a good series. Been an interesting series. Mike Mullis, thanks to him for being with us today. Back in the morning on Talk of the Town for Open Line Friday. I'll be out tomorrow. Pilk will be in with a brand new edition of the Patrick Johnson Show, so he'll carry you through. Have a great rest of the evening and a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you here on Monday.